Hello, everyone. Welcome to, that's right, another edition of the Wrap Up. Danny Myers, Nikki Buckler, hollering at you on this great week, post-Independence Day, our great nation. G-Wash, T-Jeff, B. Frank, the founding bros, did it for us back in the 1770s, and here we are 300 short years later, 250 maybe. I don't know, math is never my strong suit. But I do know that we, the people of the Wrap Up, are here to bring you yet another great half hour of pure bliss. And it started with last week's free agent signing. That's right, the Detroit Red Wings. They are in it to win it, some would say. Others would disagree. They had 5 real signings, 3 of which were players that weren't on the team last year, and 2 of which had been on the team. Darren Helm was an unrestricted free agent going into this offseason. He signs a 5-year deal worth $3.85 million per. To me, for a guy who can never score on a breakaway, he can never stay healthy, he can't play a full season, to get a 5-year deal for almost double of what he made last year, it just doesn't make sense to me, Dan, but who knows? Speed is becoming a huge thing in this league, and that could be what Kenny Holland saw in this and wanted to lock him up.
Right, yeah, and I'm right there with you. He doesn't have that wow factor for me to pay him the money that he is actually getting paid. So with him being signed, I really felt like we could have dealt him with something, maybe a package deal for somebody. But I really didn't feel that wow factor with him. He just doesn't do it for me. So unfortunately, we were stuck with him for a minute, though.
Yeah, we got him. I mean, you can't rule out a trade. I mean, he's a guy who is attractive to other teams. He's great on the PK. He can win you some clutch face-offs. But for those here in Detroit, we've seen it, and we're kind of burned out maybe a little bit by him. Another player who they re-signed to a 2-year deal of a total of $2.9 million, so about 1.8 per, actually it's a little more. I told you math was bad. Alexei Marchenko, nonetheless, is here for 2 more years. I mean, they didn't overpay for him. He's a right-handed shot. Maybe he'll get better. He's still young, but I'm not huge on this because they didn't sign that big-name defenseman, that top 4 guy. They didn't trade for him yet, but here's a guy who's back for 2 more years, probably play on the third pair.
Yeah, and he's pretty good. We do need some right-handed shooters, considering like 90% of the team is left-handed, so it definitely helps. They'll definitely help the power play should they get it. But I'm impressed by him. I think he's got a lot of maturing to do, but he definitely can take advantage of a good situation.
Yeah, he really can. Dan, I just wanted to talk about right-handed shots. There are guys out there who are right-handed that maybe the Red Wings have overlooked. A guy from the Czech Republic really gets me, who is now really looking at, he's never played in the NHL. Mikhail Kadny, I believe his name is. He's really piquing interest from Chicago. Right-handed shot, but maybe he doesn't play the style that we're looking for in Detroit, or maybe he's just one Ken Holland said, didn't get drafted, played in the Czech leagues, played in the Russian leagues as well, Swiss elite leagues. He's done it. He's played against good talent. And a guy like Alex Radulov, who was in the NHL and then leaves, now comes back to play for Montreal. Red Wings were in on that. Are you maybe worried about players who played overseas adjusting to the NHL style of play?
You know what? I feel like it's been incremented so much so into the NHL, and then with the minors and then the OHL and all those other leagues, they are sort of implementing that type of style, that type of play. But there's not a lot of physicality, so there's not a lot of hitting. There's not a lot of full contact. It's more about finesse and skating. So I think it's sort of an issue, but I don't really think it's going to be that big of an adjustment when they jump in. I think the bigger issue is sometimes the arena size and having all that space to play in as opposed to the NHL arena size. So, it's not that big of a deal, but I think, they'll be able to adjust pretty well. But I do like the style over there, and if you can get some good, really successful players from over there, that's great. But I wouldn't just be taking them just because they're from, Europe. But that's my opinion. I'm not too crazy about them. I'd like more of an American or a Canadian guy myself.
Well, we signed a couple more guys, so here we go. Frans Nielsen, he's from Denmark. He comes over 6 years, 5.85 per. For a guy who's only scored over 20 goals in the league twice. Last year, scored 20 exactly. To get this much money and this amount of time to me is a little bit crazy. Fans that I've talked to and I've seen on Twitter and Facebook hate this deal. And let me tell you something, I'm not too keen on it either. Although it's a front-loaded contract, the first 3 years, the cap hit will be around $6 million. And then as you get further on, the last 3 years, it goes 2.5, 2.5, then 1.25. So the cap hit later on when he's older, I mean, this guy's 32 years old. The Red Wings love to sign players who are over the age of 30 to long contracts. And to me, this deal makes no sense. Do you need a big-name player? Yeah. Is Frans Nielsen your guy? No. I don't think so at all. To throw money at this guy who's only scored 20 goals in the league twice makes no sense. I've said it enough. He can play in the middle, but he's no better than a second-line forward. And they're probably going to try to put him on that top line because look at the money he's getting. You're trying to fill the void and the shoes, or the skates rather, of Pavel Datsyuk, and you do it with Frans Nielsen. I'm sorry, hate the contract.
I'm not crazy about it either. There was one thing I did like about it, though. 11 playoff games, he has 6 points, which, for a star player on the first line, that's huge, especially if he's going to be playing next to Zetterberg and Larkin. But, he's not a marquee player. You're not going to see him in the big playoff ads for the 2016 playoffs or whatever. I really was surprised. I mean, I know he's played with Tavares, but that's Tavares. He doesn't. What's there to say about him? I'm not that excited, and I think yes, they did overspend for him. So hopefully he earns that paycheck. But as of now, a lot of Red Wings fans aren't sold.
The next guy is an interesting one. Thomas Vanek was bought out by the Minnesota Wild this year. Definitely a guy who he scored 40 goals 3 times in the league. Since 2007, 2008, he is 7th in the league in scoring. So that's saying something. Thomas Vanek was picked up. The Red Wings took advantage of the situation. It's a low-risk, high-reward situation. 1 year, $2.6 million. If he works, sign him to another 1-year deal, or maybe he can earn himself a pay raise. The Wings took a chance on this guy, and let me tell you, I watched his highlight reel, and this excited me. Was he the best in Minnesota? No. A lot of pressure. Going back to your hometown, you have Ryan Suter and Zach Parise. They just got these huge contracts, and they're the state of hockey. They have the most players in the NHL of any state. And just for him to not pan out was really a disappointment. I think a change of scenery was really all he needed. And I think he's going to thrive here in Detroit, playing alongside some of these young guys. And Larkin and Athanasiou can learn so much from watching a guy like Thomas Vanek, who is one of the best snipers in the recent history of the league. I'm excited to see what he can bring to this team, and I think this was a really good move by Ken Holland. Although a lot of people are hating on it, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, neither am I. He was one of those guys that you heard of, but because of the other All-Stars that that were on that Minnesota team, I think he was always left in the shadows. So you do hear about him a lot. He is a talented player. I like that he's really going to sort of alter a new style of power play when the Wings get it also. Like I said, we were talking about earlier, he is a right-handed shooter, and I think he's got a lot of promise, and hopefully he's around for a while. I could see him signing a pretty big contract after this year. I just have a feeling he's going to turn out to be a pretty good player.
I do too, and I mean, he's early 30s still, and they didn't overpay for him. Mm-hmm. Not even making $3 million. It's really good. We need these valuable contracts, and low risk is a huge thing. I think Darren Helm is a huge risk. Frans Nielsen is another huge risk. To be getting all this guaranteed money and have them inked for so long, it's a huge risk. Steve Ott, low risk, high reward. You've been asking for months on this show for the Red Wings to get a goon or an enforcer. And Steve Ott is the guy, not even making $1 million, 1 year, $800,000 to protect these young stars. Abdelkader can only get his face kicked in for so long trying to protect these guys. Steve Ott's the guy. He's fearless. And some would argue he's gutless. He's one of the dirtiest players in the league, but he's a guy you hate to play against, love to have on your team. St. Louis fans loved him. Buffalo fans loved him. Dallas fans loved him. Now they're going to hate him. He's in Detroit now, and he's happy to be in Detroit. He has said he played for the Windsor Spitfires in the OHL, and he said he loved the Red Wings, grew up rooting for them, watching the leadership of Steve Yzerman, Brendan Shanahan, Nick Lidstrom, players like that. He said he always dreamed of wearing the winged wheel, and guess what, Steve? Here you are. Welcome to Detroit. I'm happy to have you. Is he going to produce? No, but he's a skilled player. Don't let his penalty minutes stray you away from that. He can put the puck in the net. He's got a great quick shot. He's got decent hands. And more importantly, he's going to knock you down, and he's going to answer the bell if you hit a cheap shot of Larkin. Cheap shot even as Zetterberg. If you take our stars, Steve Ott's going to be on the ice, and he's going to make you pay.
Yeah, and he was one of those guys that I remember just watching. He's like, he's on the ice, and he would just irritate you. He's an agitator, and the Wings have needed someone like that since Chelios left. You know, it's just he's up in your face. He's physical, and maybe we're not going to get he's not going to produce many goals, but he will help set up plays that produce goals, and he'll help with assists. He's a heart and soul player. He's the type of guy that you're going to look for motivation, even when he's hurt. And God forbid he gets hurt, but one of these guys is just he's got the soul of a lion, and he's going to really go after him. And yeah, definitely keep the team motivated and stick up for your stars. 'Cause I really feel like the Wings have been lacking that for a long time.
You know the last guy to have a heart of a lion? 1, 2, 3?
Ozzy.
Yeah. What about that? What do you know about that?
Quick, I think he's terrific.
Yeah.
How long have I been yelling that we need a physical, tough guy like Steve Ott? About as loud as I can get. But
this is his max decibels right here.
I was so excited when I got that. You actually informed me that we got him, and I was just ecstatic. That's huge. I am so looking forward to seeing
Granite.
Yes,
actually.
Yeah, rock. So yeah, it was really excited, and it was a great pickup, and Holland really impressed me with that, and I feel like he finally heard.
Let's say Holland 50-50 on this year's free agency.
Yeah. The Nielsen trade or deal signing isn't really sitting too well with me.
It's like the Arby's we had yesterday.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's like the White Castle deal. It sort of upsets your stomach.
You're upsetting a bunch of corporations right now.
Well, I'll change my mind if they want to throw us some sponsor money, but until then, it's how it's going to go.
She from Maverick. Okay. Arbitration's kicking in here. Danny DeKeyser's headed there. Danny DeKeyser wants to get paid. And do you blame him? No. He's been one of the more consistent defensemen on this team, and he's headed for arbitration, which means he's going to get a contract. Probably more expensive than the Wings want. He's a restricted free agent, obviously, but arbitration takes place between July 20th and August 5th, and a deal will get done between that time. They avoided arbitration with Jared Coreau, the goaltender down in Grand Rapids. He's been there for a long time. They signed him to a 2-year deal. First year is a 2-way contract, which means you can send him down to the minors and back up without him having to clear waivers as many times as you want. The second year, however, this is interesting, is a 1-way deal, which means they're planning for him to be at the NHL level next year. So look out, Jimmy Howard and Peter Mrazek currently are your 2 Detroit Red Wings goaltenders. That means they're expecting Jared Coreau to be one of those 2 goaltenders, and my guess is Peter and Jared. Coreau has been great down there, and I think he deserves it, and I'm really happy to see this contract, although it's not one that's going to pique the interest of a lot of Red Wings fans because they don't really know much about him.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're like a hardcore Wings fan or you really follow them pretty thoroughly, you don't know too much about the minors, and you're not really following it. It's just a pleasant surprise once they do arrive. Someone like an Anthony C or Coreau, should he show up. But yeah, that's exciting. I have a feeling we're really going to be watching our goaltenders, especially with the expansion coming out. But I would really like to get Jimmy out of here for a star player if we can. I don't know if that's going to happen. I can't see it happening, but I would love for that to happen. But yeah, I think these young goaltenders is going to be huge for the Wings in the upcoming years.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some time to update you. Hopefully they add that big defenseman via trade. I'm still looking at Kevin Shattenkirk, Cam Fowler are just 2 names, but obviously nothing has happened yet on the trade front. Kenny Holland said he is active on it, and I know he's big on Cam Fowler. Anaheim's asking a top 6 forward. We'll see how that plays out. But first, our sponsors got some words for you. And after that, we got some Tigers baseball. BRB.
If ever there's a rather sit this out and sleep a day away instead. Weary eyes a bit too slow and deep. I'd rather sit this out and sleep a day away instead. To worry about the emptiness that comes.
Tigers baseball, Dan. It's a horrible thing. Well, when they're playing Cleveland.
Yeah, right.
Which is happening this week.
That's happening right now as we
Right
speak.
now. They're losing, actually, 1-0. While you're watching this. You're already going to know the outcome, but right now, they're losing early, 1-0. Lonnie Chisenhall, RBI double. Michael Firearm Fulmer, snubbed from the All-Star game. Lowest ERA in the American League. Doesn't matter, folks. I don't want him there. Don't burn out a good thing.
Yeah.
The candle is fully lit. Don't snuff it out. They're 0-11 currently against the Tribe, probably in the process of being 0-12 by the end of this broadcast. However, 44-29 against other teams. The Tigers can't beat good teams. Oh, they just won 6 straight, baby. Let's do it. Party on Woodward. No, absolutely not. They beat the Marlins. Congrats. Name me 2 players on the team. Giancarlo Stanton. Oh, does Pudge still play for them? No, he doesn't. They're terrible. They're not the Florida Marlins anymore either. They're the Miami Marlins, so you probably didn't know that either. Oh, they just 4-game sweep in Tampa on the road. Congrats. Joe Madden's not their manager. They don't have Carlos Pena or David Price anymore. Okay, Ben Zobrist isn't even there. So they have no one. Evan Longoria is like 900. And guess what? He's still making better plays than Castellanos. Doesn't matter. They're a bad team. You know when the Tigers come back down 7-1 in the 9th inning and score 8 runs and win, that you're a bad team. You let a bad team beat you. I'm sorry. The Tigers need to sell. I'm never one to be sellers at the deadline. I'm always hanging on to that last buy. Come on, we can sneak in the playoffs. Could be a wild card. We can't. Every time we finally club, oh, we're only 4 games behind Cleveland. Then we play Cleveland and get swept. A season sweep. 0-12, folks. That's bad. And not to mention, you just sent 2 of your better pitchers on the DL.
Yeah.
You got Anibal, okay, on the mound. Okay? That's bad. He's bad. Okay? He is the highest paid garbage mound of landfill that you could ever put on the mound. And guess what? Oh, we need a stopper. We're sending Anibal. We're calling him in. Sorry, he's a righty. Doesn't even matter. He could probably pitch better left-handed. Okay? He goes in, and they lose 12-1. They gave him a courtesy run because they felt bad. Children of the Blind finally chiseled one between the gap and scored a run. Congrats. You have 1 All-Star, Miguel Cabrera, and that's only out of name recognition. He's not even hitting 300. You have Ian Kinsler, who's having a career year. Nah, final vote. Detroit, nah, he won't get that because they're not a popular enough market. Oh, well. If Kinsler gets a final vote, I'd be honestly surprised. Okay, he's going against some Dustin Pedroia. Yeah, he'll get it because they already have the whole rest of the Red Sox team on there. Okay. Yeah. Michael Fulmer deserved it, but am I upset he's not on it? No. Victor's hitting 330. Now, we'll give it to David Ortiz. The guy's like 1,000. He'll swing it with his cane. The Red Wings need canes. They're blind. They're horrible. The little red on the bottom. They're bad. Okay? They're horrible. They can't beat a real baseball team, and that's plain and simple. You can say it all you want. Sell your assets. Keep your young talent. Norris just went to the DL. Zimmerman's on the DL. Now you got guys like Molikin pitching in meaningful games. You have Buck Farmer in a game. Kyle Ryan. These guys are pitching meaningful innings. That's sad. It's like 2003 all over again. 43-119. Tigers are still above 500. That's just because they haven't played good teams in a while. They're playing Cleveland right now. And then they're going somewhere else. And then it's the All-Star break. The All-Star break can't come soon enough for this team. Send out the SOS. We got the flares shooting up. This is the Titanic happening.
The ship's going down.
The ship is about to crack in half, and Brad Ausmus will still be holding on to that steering wheel. And guess what? I bet he bails. He won't go down with the ship. Nah, he probably will. They won't fire him. A bunch of spineless brass up in the front office. It's horrible. I'm telling you, man. It's bad, Dan.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Have I said the same word for the last 30 years? Yes, because I just want to iterate, reiterate, collaborate, belligerate, make words up-orate. It's bad, and something needs to get done. I talk to people who are like, hey, yeah, wild card, baby. Yeah, sure. Oh, they're going to sweep Cleveland. No, they're not. Sweep the dust out from the dugout, maybe. Because the Bats haven't even hit 180 against Cleveland this year. They're hitting 177 in the season series. Slugging percent under 3. Yeah, you're a pro baseball team. You're in second place in a division. The Central is horrible. Cleveland's not that good of a team. They're just hot. They have great starting pitching, and the rest is... They don't even have Michael Brantley, their best player. Wait till they get him. Tigers don't even have a prayer. All right? Dan, you want to talk, or you want me to keep...
I'm letting you cool down. All right, yeah.
Let me cool down. I'll yell at you a little later.
Yeah, I'm okay with Fulmer not going. Because, it'd be nice to be recognized, but that's okay. Recognition doesn't always help you, i.e. the Matt Harvey New York Mets incident. He was super hot that year, and then right after that, he was a Tommy John surgery that he needed, and you really haven't heard much from him since. But so with that being out of the way, yeah, that's fine. We all know he's a hidden weapon with the Tigers. Just they need more weapons to capitalize. And unfortunately, that's not going on right now.
They can't. The government's taking away the Second Amendment. So the Tigers, that's just happening. So if you're wondering what the government is going to do to you, just look at the Tigers. All their weapons have been taken from them. They're helpless. Dan, back to you.
Yeah, I think the big issue right now too is the lack of leadership. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse when we say this week to week, but it's not happening. And a lot of people are saying, well, Ausmus has got to take control. Ausmus lost the team. That's been apparent since last year.
He lost the team 2 years ago,
yeah.
Dan.
And I think the big person you have to, if this was any other team, say this was Boston, you would look to David Ortiz to take the team by the reins. He's one of the biggest paid athletes on that team.
And he's not even an athlete.
Really
Can't run.
No. But
swings a bat. Me strong. Okay, great.
There's a reason we're paying Miguel Cabrera all this money. Yes, he produces, but he also...
He's declining. He's declining.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit 330 in 3 years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He needs to step up. Right, he doesn't have the best English on the team, but when you're getting...
Neither does the rest of the team.
That's true.
So he gets along great.
But you need to step up. You are the marquee player of this team. You need to step up, you need to be heard, and you need to make an example out of yourself, and then hopefully that domino effect happens down the line. So
I've got some opinions on that, if I can, because it's about this before you move on to your next bullet point. Miguel Cabrera needs to quit having fun. I'm sorry. You're having way too much fun to be subpar. Okay, you're no longer, this year, elite. His fielding is better than people give him credit for. He's hitting 290. And that's not worth $30 million a year. 290. Right. JD Martinez hits 290. And that's great. That's what we expect from him. Miguel Cabrera is supposed to hit 320 minimum. Because that's what he gets paid. He gets paid to be an elite player, and he hasn't been elite in 2-3 years. Some would argue the injuries last year. That's fine. You work through that. This year has not, but maybe blame Ausmus, giving him too many days off. Leland played him every day, and that's when he was at his best. Ausmus gives him a day off every 2 weeks, puts Saltalamacchia in at first base, a guy who can barely hold a bat in his hands. Oh, maybe I'll be better because I put Chuck Norris's face on the end of my bat. Dude, you can't even hit the Mendoza line. You could throw a beach ball up there and that guy would whiff. Greasy hair would get in his eyes. Wake up. Where is the sense of urgency? There is none. Every post-game interview after they lose to Cleveland, well, maybe we'll get him tomorrow. Tomorrow could start our new Cleveland winning streak. It's not, because you continue to lose and nothing gets done about it. Maybe Miguel Cabrera's blow-up Tuesday night when he fouled the ball off his knee and they called him out on a ground out will wake him up. I hope it does. I love Miguel Cabrera. I think he's a great player. But this year has been atrocious. Plain and simple. Nothing we can do about it now. Dan, we're cut for time, so I got to move on to a topic I want to talk about, and that's Kevin Durant and the NBA being a joke. Would you ever see Larry Bird leave the Celtics to go play for the Lakers? Would you see Isaiah leave Detroit to play for the Bulls? Would Magic leave the Lakers to go play for the Bulls or go play for the Celtics? No. If you can't beat them, join them? I don't think so. Kevin Durant was so close. You were up 3-1. And instead of, when I lose to someone and I'm right there, it's just a sense of relief if you can go out and beat them the next time. Kevin Durant does not. He goes, I'll leave. Huh. See ya. Burn his jerseys, folks. Burn them. This just makes me, I've hated the NBA. I've been so open with that. This just makes it 100 times worse for me. And it's not even fair. Why even play the season? Oh, but there's a salary cap in the NBA. Sure, it's like $1 billion. The salary cap came out. It's $94.6 million for the next season. The Pistons signed a backup power forward last week. Backup. John Lure. He averaged 5.9 points per game in his career. $10.7 million per year to sit the bench. The highest paid player in perspective in the NHL, Jonathan Taves, $10.5 million per season. Backup power forward in the NBA, who can't even average 6 points per game, 4 rebounds to be a power forward of a big man, makes 10.7. The NBA needs to go away. I'm sorry. This is pathetic to me. The contracts these guys are getting. Next thing you know, you're going to sign Calvin Cambridge from the LA Knights and pay him $40 million a year. 13-year-old kid who got MJ's shoes zapped off lightning bolt on a wire in Brooklyn or LA or wherever he's from. It's pathetic. The NBA needs some serious reconstruction, but they won't because everyone, Golden State, everyone's going to be watching this team. All the bandwagon fans they're going to get their KD jerseys, their Steph jerseys in brass and gold because they get your rings already. Why even play the season? It's going to be a Cleveland Golden State rematch. Cleveland's talking to Dwayne Wade. It's going to be stupid. I mean, go.
Well, there goes next season. Might as well not watch.
It's stupid to me. That's all I can say. It's frustrating because a team like Detroit, who's trying to rebuild and be competitive, can't because you just have these franchises just spent here. $100 billion is the cap. Sure, we'll give you $90 billion. Oh, you're our backup center? Great. Even better. Folks, the only way we could stop this is by not watching, but there's so many people that are bandwagon. They love the NBA. Continue to watch. I hope you're happy because it's frustrating and it'll never change. But actually, it's not frustrating because I don't even care. I hate basketball. Thought I'd give you some entertainment, Dan. I thought so. Nothing you can do.
I thought it was hilarious that you're watching a lot of these OKC fans. First of all, you think we're upset about being a Tigers team and everything that's not going right with them. OKC's stock just plummeted, and it's just going to continue to go through the floor after, I think Russell Westbrook's on his way to LA.
He's leaving.
He's gone.
He's gone.
And any credibility that this team had is just gone out the window. If they were looking for playoff hopes, it's not going to happen.
When they left New Orleans to be the Hornets, when they left
Charlotte
to go, no, actually they left to go to Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Charlotte moved down and became the Pelicans.
That's right.
Because they were the Bobcats. Anyways, who cares? I don't. When they moved, they had a great team. Mm-hmm. They had James Harden. They had all these guys. They had Westbrook, Durant. Now Westbrook's the only guy left. He's going to be gone next year. This pretty much solidifies that. They're going to be horrible this year. And Westbrook's out. He might go to Chicago. He might go to LA. Who knows? Maybe go to Cleveland. Then he can play Durant, and it'll be a great fun time for everybody to watch the NBA bounce and squeak, baby. Let's go, Dan. Got to cut you off. We're clipped for time. Point of the story is next week you'll get to hear us yell some more. I'll probably yell
more
at
Tigers
Dan.
rants?
Maybe some Tigers rants if they still can't win a game. Maybe the Red Wings will trade for a defenseman. Maybe the NBA will still be rigged, just like Hillary. Okay, what? Sorry, gotta go.
All right, Mrs. Curry. Sorry about that.
Whoop, 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 whoop.